Well, I know your first sort of experiences were through dreams, but do you recall the first time where you found yourself communicating with the spirit world?
As a definite communication and connected and all the things that go with it was when my husband died. That's when it really opened up for me because I had a reason to go searching for it then. And I knew these weird things were going on in my thoughts and senses, and I could hear voices of the mind, like telepathy, I guess. And so I just started to recognize that. Apart from going through grief and trauma and loss and everything that you go through at that moment, this other weird shit was also going on, and it was literally that. And what now? I'm talking to, whatever. And so really it was my guide that I was more aware of at that point, and he stepped forward and helped me get through that. And I was able to then develop further afield. And he told me many amazing things in that period of time that have now come true and have happened and are happening. You might be told something at the time and it can't possibly be in your universe whatsoever, but it actually does. 10, 20 years later, it might be there. People come up to me or send emails and say, Janelle, that thing happened that I didn't believe was, I didn't think you were right. And so it's a similar sort of thing. And that's quite remarkable.
So if someone's in a similar boat, like they've lost, it might be a husband, it might be a child or a parent, someone that's really important, and they wanted to attempt to see if they could communicate with them in the spirit world, how would you advise that they attempt to do that?
First of all, I would not suggest it while you're going through those initial months of grief. The mind does crazy things, it plays tricks on you. And while you're in that state of shock and grief and those initial weeks of going through the throes of losing somebody very close to you, you're really tormented and you're in trauma mode. So I always suggest, waiting, because lots of people do come along. I want to learn this because my son has died a couple of months ago or whatever it might be, and they're not ready to take on all the emotional stuff that goes with learning to be a medium and communicate with spirit.
I guess another option, though, is, of course, going to a medium. If they're ready to attempt it themselves, that's what you're there for. You can be that conduit to have those conversations and communicate.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you do have to kind of gauge that as well. Don't come too soon. But this week I read for a lady and she'd only just found out her brother passed a few days ago. And I was a bit worried about it, a bit concerned about it, and she was overseas, but she booked it in and we went through it. And he was a fabulous communicator. I was concerned about her and we had a little chat about it, but she was fine and we worked through it and had a lot of fun and it had great meaning to her. And she and her loved one had a great communication, when he was alive, and they would banter and throw things and conversation, and he was just that in the spirit world, and she knew that it was him, with all the information he was giving, all sorts of things, and she was kind of amazed and grateful, and she had fun. And the spirit person is just as grateful as the sitter themselves. It's a relief for them. They want to know that their person, their human, is feeling better after they hear from them. And so it's our job to be as good as we can be and show the respect to both sides of the veil.